Hey y'all. I know I profess to y'all that I rarely watch television anymore, nowhere near like I used to years ago. Many. It's been quite a few years. To give you an idea, I think the last TV show, like, where every week it was another episode that I watched on television, was a TV show called Fringe, which was my replacement for the X-Files. Give you an idea how I'm not a TV person. Anyway, I stumbled across this and I looked on television on three different news outlets today. Got nothing about this. This is about 4 days old. Azerbaijan and Armenia are at war again. Now, people, what the hell does that got to do with us? Well, hopefully nothing, because we don't need this right now. The timing of this stinks. And if, I take what I get from the news with a grain of salt, because I first saw it on Sky News, but about time it lapsed. I mean, Sky News on YouTube, it's live news. It's literally live. It's rolling. So you can't go back. So if you miss something, you just miss it. And Al Jazeera is reporting. I don't watch I can't mess with Al Jazeera. In total honesty, I think well, no, never mind, because I don't think I'm past the statute of limitations quite yet. 2020, 12, yeah, I'm not. Nah, I'm getting close to the statutes of limitations on one thing, but why risk it? I'll tell you a story about Al Jazeera and some reporters and whatnot. But I better wait until next spring. I want to make sure I'm out of the woods by a nice little distance. Miss Lady here, tell us what's going on, Miss Lady here. Now, I know there was reports that the Turks are getting involved, and our relationship with Turkey, yeah, it's shaky, but NATO, oh crap, we don't need this right now. And I think Al Jazeera or the other Al, it's another Al Jazeera-ish news outlet, which I don't trust them either, or ABC, or none of them. But pictures mean something. Now, I watched this video. What made me know it's for real is because when you see artillery, when you see the medium and heavy artillery take the field, that means diplomacy has broken down. Okay, you can see some ground troops, a couple armored vehicles, some trucks, helicopters. Yeah, you can have some casualties mounting, but normally that's in the early phases. That's that, look, I ain't playing. Well, I ain't playing either. But when you see cannon artillery and it's dug in, it's in placement, they done perform Telaspap. You'd have to be an artilleryman. I mean, I could explain it, but you probably go, what? Once they done went through Telaspap and got the big guns dug in, normally that means diplomacy is broke down and the heavy blows are about ready to take place in between the two. So anyway, this is between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and they are, like I say, reigniting a decades-old conflict over a piece of land. I'm telling y'all, people, we talked about this before, and everybody, I don't understand what. Dude, it's all about conquest. The planet ain't growing any more land, and people will spill blood over territory. Now, I'll stop it to show y'all something, but this is just me talking out of the side of my neck. So anyway, let's go. She ain't bad looking.
About, yet it's been happening on and off for decades. Armenia and Azerbaijan, two former Soviet territories, have been locked in conflict for 32 years over a piece of disputed territory. There was a stalemate until recently, and now there's a chance that world powers may be thrust into this crisis that has already resulted in hundreds of deaths. Patrick Reevell is on the ground there and brings us this report.
A decades-old conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia reignited. This is what life has been like in Nagorno-Karabakh's capital, Stepanakert, for more than a week. Air raid sirens and near constant bombardment. Armenia and Azerbaijan are fighting a large-scale war along the borders of the disputed region. Now a flashpoint that risks triggering a larger international crisis.
Let them stop this war. I don't want my son to be fighting there. I want all mothers to have their sons returned to them. I ask everyone, help us.
The military conflict over Nagorno.
Don't y'all listen to her. Don't y'all, no lady. Now, y'all gotta hammer this out. We need to watch this from the cheap seats. I'm sorry.
Karabakh is one of the world's oldest. The mountainous region is claimed by both Armenians and Azerbaijanis. Conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh is one of the world's oldest. The mountainous region is claimed by both Armenians.
This is part of the big problem. You got a lot of Armenians live in Azerbaijan, and a lot of Azerbaijanis living in Armenia. Why, I don't know. But why? Now this, where you see the border region, I don't know why they just don't give a swath just right here at the border. Just right here at the border, because you still have this border region, Armenia, to this country. So it's not like you're going to be being cut off completely, but sort of a land bridge. If you just gave, you know what I'm saying, 100 foot wide the whole damn way, where the Azerbaijanis in this part of Azerbaijan isn't cut off completely, I think that would be. The olive, extending the olive branch, so it's not so bad, and bring this conflict to an end. But apparently there's probably something that I'm missing, but that's the way my brain thinks anyway.
Armenians and Azerbaijanis. As the Soviet Union collapsed in the late 1980s, ethnic Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh sought to join the new Armenian state. The resulting six-year war killed over 20,000 people and displaced hundreds of thousands. Despite a ceasefire brokered by Russia in 1994, the conflict was never resolved. Nagorno-Karabakh is now populated and controlled by Armenians, but is internationally still recognized as Azerbaijani territory. For 30 years, the conflict has regularly flared up. But there's been no fighting like this since the 1990s. Nearly 2 weeks ago, Azerbaijan launched a major offensive and has said it wants to force Armenia to withdraw entirely from Nagorno-Karabakh.
This is unique, and this is very large in scales. We never had, since 1994, this is the first time we have a war with this large, scale.
Already hundreds of troops and dozens of civilians have been killed. Right now, only one road is open to Nagorno-Karabakh from Armenia's capital, Yerevan. Driving into the mountains, signs of the war come towards us. As we're driving closer to Nagorno-Karabakh, we keep seeing ambulances coming past us. They're all coming from the front with the wounded. Getting closer to the border, we meet a group of men in new cars. They're donating them to the war effort.
It's for our motherland. We're giving these cars to our friends so that they can use these cars, use them in wartime, to carry the wounded, to bring food to those places that need it.
The war has triggered a huge mobilization among Armenians, people signing up to fight, donating food, money and basic necessities. And there is a need for them. So far, fighting is largely confined to Nagorno-Karabakh and nearby areas, but Azerbaijan is indiscriminately bombarding the enclave. Nuna Gabrielian fled her town 4 days ago with 9 grandchildren. Their home now is this kindergarten, along with 7 adults.
This is our bedroom.
They sleep in the same room and eat in the classroom.
All of them, the bigger ones, this is already the second time they've seen this. I appeal to the world. I ask you to stop it. It's enough. I've already seen war 3 times. I can't do this. I don't know where else to turn to, where I can hide these children so they don't see this bombing.
Hundreds of people forced to flee are living in hotels in this town. Armenian forces have retaliated, striking cities in Azerbaijan. The United States, Russia and France have called for an immediate ceasefire, but that is complicated by a new factor in the conflict. Turkey is openly backing Azerbaijan far more aggressively than it has in the past.
And that's a problem. That's probably going to turn out to be a problem.
Syrian fighters from Turkish-backed rebel groups are now allegedly being sent to Azerbaijan to fight. Turkey and Azerbaijan deny that. But in this refugee camp in northern Syria, 2 fighters told ABC News they were recruited by Turkey.
ضد أرمينيا.
Now, I don't give this any credence. They could be real, could not be. But I mean, you can get 2 people, get some people anywhere to speak the native tongue, get them some monies and tell them to cover their face up and say whatever the hell you want. I mean, if you ever seen, you know, the tail that wags the dog, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's, even though we don't know what homeboy's saying, but let's go.
Fighters told ABC News they were recruited by Turkey.
ضد أرمينيا.
The Turkish government asked the Free Syrian Army to intervene in Azerbaijan. Our battalion was asked to provide 200 to 300 people to go to Azerbaijan. They told me I would earn a salary between $1,300 to $1,800.
Don't you think it's awful strange that anytime when you hear something being put off in U.S. denominations, as in time, distance, or money, it's aimed at the English-speaking people, not the locals. Notice they translate to what it would be in dollars. This was designed for U.S. consumption, not for the consumption of the region. The devil to a whole bunch of stuff is always in the details. I don't know what caliber howitzer that is. Single equilibrator, so it ain't nothing over 155 millimeter, because you need an equilibrator larger than that. God damn it, there go the artilleryman in me kicking in again. Let's go back to homeboy, and I'm gonna let it run through.
They were recruited by Turkey.
ضد أرمينيا.
The Turkish government asked the Free Syrian Army to intervene in Azerbaijan. Our battalion was asked to provide 200 to 300 people to go to Azerbaijan. They told me I would earn a salary between $1,300 to $1,800.
And then there's Russia, a formal military ally of Armenia, but it's supplying weapons to both sides. There are fears that the tangled geopolitics of this conflict could prolong the war, making it more bloody. For now, the goodbyes continue, families sending off their loved ones to fight once again.
My younger son came home wounded, and now I'm sending my older son to war so that he can protect my motherland, our Armenians, so that we all can live calmly and well. Let those Azerbaijanis and Turks leave. They're killing them. You understand?
In Armenia's capital, they're burying the dead. and preparing to receive more casualties. They're digging fresh graves, 3 backhoes working at once. Patrick Revel in Yerevan, Armenia, for ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News.
George Snuffleupagus. I can't stand that sack of meat with eyes. Freaking soup with legs. Anywhere, anyway, there it is. If Soviet Union gets involved because Turkey gets involved, that's a snowball effect. We don't need this with a national election. Well, they ain't got nothing to do, man. You gotta watch the ball, man. You gotta keep your eye on the ball, man. I mean, we need. What you want to bet? Something come out that Russia is playing both sides. I'm willing to bet you $1 to a donut right now. But anyway, let's see what happened, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye. Well, crap. Let's go.
A ceasefire between Armenia and Azerbaijan is due to come into effect in around 3 hours. It follows 2 weeks of intensive fighting over the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. The deal was announced by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov after talks in Moscow. Senem Koscioglu reports from the city of Mingashevir in Azerbaijan.
It's the first direct contact known to have taken place between Armenia and Azerbaijan since the new fighting broke out on September 27.
Объявляется о прекращении огня.
A ceasefire has been declared from 12 o'clock on October 10th for humanitarian purposes, to exchange prisoners and the bodies of the dead. It'll be done under the guidance of the International Red Cross.
The Moscow talks came after the Azerbaijan foreign minister attended talks in Geneva with the French, US and Russian envoys on Thursday.
We are committed to a peaceful settlement of the Karabakh conflict and are ready to resume the peace process in accordance with the recent statements of the presidents and foreign ministers of the OSCE Minsk Group.
But just as the talks in Moscow began, the Azerbaijan president Ilham Aliyev said there could be no peace if Armenia continued to insist that Nagorno-Karabakh was part of its territory.
Karabakh is Azerbaijan. Everyone should know this, including those in charge of Armenia today. I tell them again that if they commit fraud after the Moscow talks, they will regret it. We will take back our lands, peacefully or through war. Unequivocally, we want to organise it peacefully. We give Armenia one last chance.
For the last 2 days, efforts to stop the fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan have been held while the battles in and around Nagorno-Karabakh continue to rage. It still remains to be seen whether this latest international effort to achieve a ceasefire will be successful. The fighting is the worst since the 1991-94 war that killed an estimated 30,000 people and ended with a ceasefire that has been repeatedly violated. Azerbaijan says that 31 Azeri civilians have been killed and 168 wounded since September 27. It has not disclosed information about military casualties. Authorities in Nagorno-Karabakh say 376 of its military personnel and 22 civilians have been killed during the same period. Sinem Kusolu, Al Jazeera, Mingashevir, Azerbaijan.
Alexandra Stoyanovich-Godefroy has more on the ceasefire announcement from Moscow.
It's a kind of a humanitarian ceasefire with the purpose of the exchange of prisoners and other people that are detained by both sides, as well as for handing over the bodies of the people that have been killed since the 27th of September when this conflict started. This is to be happening under the observation of Red Cross. He also said that the parties agreed to start substantial negotiations, and he also said that the parties agreed that the format of this negotiation is not going to change, which I think means that it will stay within the OSCE Minsk group co-chaired by Russia, France and United States, a group that has been established in the 90s to end the original conflict that has been frozen since then. So what is to follow? what is for us to see is whether this ceasefire is indeed going to happen as agreed, if it is really going to come down to the exchange of prisoners, and if the parties are really willing to start negotiating and to really return to the negotiating table to solve this decades-long conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh.
This is this part is this story is 2 days old. Wow. What? Oh, okay. I'm like, what the heck is that? Okay. Is that how? Where's? Oh. How do you keep them glasses on? Is this white thing tripping with me? Is that what's holding her glasses, or I'm tripping? I notice everything. Damn. Here we go.